Hello everyone and welcome to episode 5 of Rolling Release, our weekly Linux podcast about Linux and its continual improvement on the desktop. How you doing, Adam?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. My name is Jacob, by the way, and Adam is in today. He is standing in for Mark. Mark is off. He's recording some album with his band, is what I was told.
Recording an album?
He texted me at like 2 a.m. last night that he wouldn't be able to do the show. He probably didn't think I was going to respond, but I was still working on other videos, so I responded right away and said, don't worry, me and Adam got it. So me and Adam are going to cover you all with the news this week. We're going to talk about Linux a little bit later. We don't have a specific topic this week, but Adam, you use Linux on your desktop.
Yeah, that's all I use.
Well, you use a MacBook as well, but
don't worry about that. That's cool.
But yeah, since you know how to use Linux and you're semi-okay with it, so I thought it would be really fun to just talk about the stuff that you do on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, we're going to get to that later. For now, though, we have some exciting news stories, and I'm ready to talk about them. I'm going to move my microphone closer to me. Alright, by the way, everyone watching and listening, I'm sorry about this noise. As I talked about at the live stream last week, the Nerd on the Street 5-year anniversary stream that happened last week, there is construction happening in this house. The person who owns this house is knocking down walls, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. So, sorry if you're watching and that banging is annoying, but I have to live with it even when I'm not watching videos, so at least you can pause if you don't like it. You ready to get into the news this week, Adam?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah. By the way, if you absolutely want the banging to stop, go become a Nerd Club member at nerdclub.us.co so we can get in office. Just saying. All right, our first news story this week is Tomahawk Music Player is essentially abandoned. Now, this was one of those stories I told Adam, I'm pretty sure we talked about this already. But our last episode of Rolling Release that we did, like the one right before this, or maybe it was 2 episodes ago, one of our first few episodes was an episode all about different Linux music players. And it's kind of funny, the reason we were doing that episode is because my music player of choice was called Banshee. Have you ever used Banshee?
I had it once.
Well, yeah. Was it on your current computer or on that, like, Lubuntu computer? What was that on?
But I never had a Lubuntu computer.
You had Lubuntu on that old Dell Dimension in your basement.
Oh, no. It would have been on this computer.
Okay. Well, yeah, I love Banshee. It's my favorite music player, but it hasn't gotten updated in so long, and then it stopped working because it's so out of date. So I had to find a new music player. We talked about all kinds of music players, and one of the ones that I think we might have mentioned but forgotten to actually cover was Tomahawk. And it's actually not that big of a deal that we didn't cover it, apparently, because apparently it is abandoned, which is a shame. It's always a shame when an application gets abandoned. But yeah, don't expect to see any new releases of Tomahawk Player. Tomahawk is interesting because it's a multi-platform music app. It's Windows, Mac, and Linux. It's not just Linux. And it's kind of got some interesting features. But yeah, a quote from a recent GitHub commit. Somebody updated the code just to add this message into the program. There is no one working on it. There isn't much sense in adding any new issues in the issue tracker unless you want to fix them yourself. So basically they're saying don't report bugs because we're not going to fix them because the project is abandoned. Tomahawk is similar to some other GNOME music players like Rhythmbox. However, Tomahawk's big thing was it integrated online music playing in addition to local music playing. So you could listen to Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Music, things like that in Tomahawk, and you could also listen to your local library.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess it was like a shame that isn't still up then.
It is kind of a shame.
That's not like a useful thing.
I mean, personally, it did not appeal to me because I don't use online music services. That was my whole thing in the first place, why I was like so sad that Banshee was going away, because I don't use Google Music. I download my songs off of iTunes in a Windows virtual machine and then copy them out. But iTunes songs don't have any DRM. And I sometimes I use Google Music, but I buy the MP3s outright. I don't use like the subscription, Do you use subscription services for your music, or do you buy off of iTunes, or do you pirate it? What do you do?
You think I pirate music? Who do you think you're talking to? No, I don't buy or pay for any music or pirate it. I really just use Spotify.
Okay.
I mean...
And if you only use one service, then you can really just use the Spotify client, because I'm pretty sure there's a Linux Spotify client. If there's not an official one, there's definitely unofficial ones. But like Tomahawk was cool because you could search for a song and then it would play it from the best place. So like if you have the song locally, it'll play it there because that's going to be the highest quality. If you don't have it locally, it'll play it from whatever service has the highest quality copy of it. So it was a cool project. And but yeah, it is discontinued now. Just about as officially as you can get with something like this. Now, the good news right now is that Tomahawk does still work. So if you're a big Tomahawk user, you can use Tomahawk still. And you will be able to use it for a little bit, but like I was using Banshee like 5 years after the last update, and then it stopped working for me recently. So in a few years, Tomahawk might stop working, and if nobody picks it back up, you might have to pick out a new music player. But hopefully, since we just had that episode where we talked about Linux music players, it won't be too difficult for people. So you can just go back and watch that if you're a Tomahawk user and you want to switch to something else. But yeah, that's just wanted to throw that in. Any other thoughts about Tomahawk shutting down? Did you ever use Tomahawk?
No, I've never used Tomahawk. I haven't heard about it until now.
I heard the name and then I didn't use it like hardly at all. But
yeah,
I
don't really have a clue about those music players for Linux.
Yeah. Well, yeah, our next story is WPS Office for Linux 2016 has apparently been released. 2016. Yeah, that's right. That was that was not a misspeaking. That was actually the version of this. Now we talked about this last episode. So WPS Office a couple weeks ago announced that they were dropping Linux. And then a day later they took that announcement offline and then blamed everyone who reported on it for coming up with fake news. But they were the ones, they made a press release. They tweeted about it. Yeah. And then they deleted the tweet and said, no, they were lying.
Ridiculous.
So yeah,
maybe nobody didn't understand like the Linux community, how big they were.
Well, that's kind of what happened was, like, so many people were upset about WPS Office closing that they kind of were like, ugh, that we have a lot of Linux users. Because it was, like, there were lots of people talking about it when they announced that they weren't doing Linux anymore. And, like, I don't use WPS Office. I've used it once. I tried it out years ago, one time. But it really, for me, doesn't do anything that LibreOffice doesn't do. What Office suite do you use on Linux?
I have LibreOffice.
You have LibreOffice?
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do have LibreOffice.
And I mean, if you don't want LibreOffice, there's also OpenOffice you can get, or you can just run Microsoft Office in a virtual machine or in Wine, if you can get it to work in Wine. So yeah, there's not a whole lot of reason to use WPS Office now. The big reason why they advertise that you should use it is complete compatibility with Microsoft Office document formats. So sometimes I go into LibreOffice, I open up a document, save it, and then I open it up in Microsoft Word at school, and it doesn't look exactly the same. I got to tweak some things to make it look the same that it did on my LibreOffice. Now, LibreOffice recently made complete feature parity between operating systems between LibreOffice. So if all you use is LibreOffice, you can go between Linux and Windows, and 100% of your stuff will look exactly the same. But if you're saving to .doc or .docx formats, WPS Office claims to have better support. WPS Office is also free of price. It is not free software, it is not GPL software, and it is not even open source. It is proprietary, so unless you really, really need better Office format support, better Microsoft Office format support than LibreOffice can provide, then you probably shouldn't go with WPS, but yeah. It also has the Microsoft ribbon, which, what do you think of the ribbon?
I do like the Microsoft ribbon.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the Microsoft ribbon. A lot of Linux users don't like it. I'm happy that LibreOffice is sort of starting to incorporate that, but WPS has a more developed version of the ribbon than LibreOffice does right now. So yeah, you can go and download that. Now, once again, this is the 2016 version. This is the first time it's been updated in almost a year, but it's still an outdated version, even after the update. And then the download is on the WPS community website. So they're still not really totally supporting this. They're not 100% behind it. Kingsoft is the company who makes WPS Office. But yeah, you can go and download it. You can try it out. They've got debs, they've got RPMs, they have tarballs. So, you know, I'm sure it's in the AUR. So yeah, there's that. Our next story this week. You want to take one of yours?
Yeah, I'll take my first story of the
Yeah.
day.
Let me switch to your
This is
desktop.
about. Oh yes.
Go ahead.
This is about Linux malware uses Raspberry Pi to mine cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Have you ever used Raspberry Pi?
I have not. Now, Mark just got a Raspberry Pi. I know Michael was talking about one that he got recently, so I know lots of people who use them.
Oh,
So yeah, Raspberry
What's it
Pi
doing?
is the $35 computer, by the way. It's the
$35.
it's an entire computer on one board. You can hold it in the palm of your hand, and it's $35, and you can do a lot of cool stuff with it. Most of them run Linux because Linux is the only operating system efficient enough to run on something that low power. But yeah, tell us about this story. What's going on?
So basically, it allows an external SSH connection.
Yeah.
We got so it uses a Bash script. You know what that is?
Yeah, so a bash script. All right, so SSH. Adam's talking. Like I said, Adam uses Linux, but he might not know what all these buzzwords are. You got the highlighting down though. SSH is what you use to remote connect to a terminal on a remote computer. So like I can log into your computer through a terminal. Bash script is just a script that runs terminal commands. That's what that is.
So it uses that to accept the external SSH connection.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't know what the default login and password are, well, Pi and Raspberry. So don't use the default login because it changes it to this nonsense.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it changes
What?
the password. Right.
All right. So it installs ZMAP, an SSH pass utility,
Okay.
and looks for extra other devices to infect them as well.
And we can use our context clues to figure out ZMAP is probably some sort of network mapping utility.
Yeah.
Now, what exactly does it do once it's infected, other than spreading itself?
Let's see.
We do have Random Dude in our chat room, and now you said mining cryptocurrency, and Random Dude points out that using a Raspberry Pi for mining cryptocurrency, you're not gonna get rich off of that, because I've had my Mac Pro mining cryptocurrency for a month, and I made about 0.04 cents, so...
Well, this has generated about 43,000 over several months.
Oh my god.
So it is quite a bit. They use what do they use? Like Monero.
Monero.
So it doesn't even mine. Yeah, it doesn't
Monero.
mine Bitcoins, Dogecoins.
It doesn't
or
doesn't mine
Litecoins.
Dogecoins. Doesn't do
No,
Litecoins.
just Monero.
Litecoin was what I was mining. But
You mine Litecoins.
I was
Yeah.
mining Litecoins. But yeah, what Monero?
Yeah,
Dark.
it
It's
says-
for
it says
dark
it's
web
used for-
drug markets.
Yeah, that's probably what the.
That's why I haven't heard of
thing
it,
is,
because I'm not into
increasingly
that.
popular.
But
You know, into drugs.
I was about to go
I
and
don't
see,
know.
because if a Raspberry Pi can mine this stuff, I was just about to go and start mining it on my laptop because I could probably get rich off of that. But I don't want to get into the black market or
No,
anything.
I want to do that and get on like the wanted list or anything.
Yeah.
Maybe
So
we'll
the
sketch
the
it
reason
out.
why it's probably generated 43,000 is because how many Raspberry Pis are out there?
Okay, this about 12.5 million over the past 5 years.
12.5 million
yeah.
of them have been sold over the past 5 years. So there's a lot of them out there to get infected. Now, if you're actually doing things properly and setting up your own passwords and whatnot, then it's not a huge deal. But a lot of people get these and just connect them to their network to do some small project, but then just forget about them. And so
Yeah, and then they be
it
taken
could be
over.
could be open.
And so
source.
like older ones that you don't update are probably like more likely to be infected.
Yeah, of course. Now,
Yeah,
I assume
sure.
there's a patch for this out, right?
Uh,
I don't know what all details are in this article.
I have heard nothing about a patch. In this article, there's nothing about.
Now,
a
hang on. No,
patch.
what? So it's Raspbian OS. Yeah, no, look. No, hang on. A Raspbian OS update released last year turned off SSH by default and forced users to change the default password. So that would fix this.
Okay.
Um.
Yes.
So
So
yeah.
they'll fix that, which is.
Yeah. So yeah, and Raspbian OS is the Debian spin that's just for Raspberry Pis. So yeah, there's that. Anything else you want to say about it?
Uh,
Just
Let's
you gotta change your default passwords. Like if you,
Right.
this is not a problem really with Linux any more than a problem with iOS is that if you don't set a passcode, your friend can read your text messages. Like it's just your basic responsibility to change the default password every time. When you spin up a server, a Linux server, you gotta change. Like I'm taking an online course right now in a Linux certification I'm trying to get. And the website I'm taking it through provides Linux servers that you can spin up just for certain lessons. And when I log into those, it makes me change the default password. Now, this is a server that's going to exist for about 20 minutes, and then it's going to get deleted. They still make me change the default password because, like, it is basic security that anything on the internet, you don't want to have a default password.
Yeah, but me and plenty of people don't think of that.
Well, I mean, you've got a password on your computer that's not the default password, right?
Yes, I do have a password set.
Yeah. So yeah, set your passwords, update your Raspbian. Yeah. Alright, so the next story we're going to talk about, back over to my screen here, is Linux. There's a new Google Drive client out, and it is not coming to Linux, it doesn't look like.
What?
So the new Google Drive client, now hang on, this isn't news, because the current Google Drive client isn't on Linux either. So,
No, it's
I don't know.
not.
See, this is the problem with OMG Ubuntu. This is the problem with OMG Ubuntu, is
no,
that
did
a
they
lot
say
of the
it was gonna
articles
come to
are
Linux?
a lot of the articles are just the author complaining about crap. I don't
So
think.
this Matt, that's not going to Linux. This
yeah.
Matt that once
I mean,
again
they're-
is skipping Linux.
Yeah, there is an all new Google Drive client available, but yeah, there was already not a client. Now there was an unofficial client that an employee of Google maintains, and obviously that's not going to be this client. But so we're just going to skim right over that story.
Yeah.
Because, yeah. Alright, so next actual story. GDM is going to replace LightDM in Ubuntu 17.10. Now, this is more Fallout. This is even more Fallout from a story we talked about our very first week. Did you hear about the whole Unity thing that went down, Adam?
Unity thing?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Do you know what Unity is? Ubuntu Unity?
No.
It is the default desktop environment on Ubuntu. Like with the sidebar on the side and then the top, right?
Yeah.
Do you know,
Right,
like,
okay.
you've seen that?
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah, they
I
discontinued
have
that.
seen that.
That's not they're stopping it, and they're gonna. Ubuntu is switching back to GNOME. We talked about this in our first episode, and there have been so many things like repercussions from this because it's a huge deal that the #1 used desktop environment got discontinued. So yeah, this is yet another thing that's happening now. Unity, back when Ubuntu switched from GNOME to Unity, they also switched from GDM to LightDM. And LightDM is a super themable, super configurable, really light display manager. And so, like, when you start up your computer, this is what you type your password into to log in. And this is what you use to switch between different desktop environments. And yeah, Ubuntu is switching to GDM, which is GNOME Display Manager, because if you're using GNOME, now you can use GNOME Display Manager. Like,
What?
it makes sense. Some people don't like GDM as much as LightDM. Personally, I really liked LightDM, but then I don't have a problem with GDM either. The reason why they actually tried to use LightDM with GNOME, but then they can't. They said it's not easy to patch GNOME Shell, as the GDM code in GNOME Shell is hard to decouple. And this is the problem with GNOME, is that KDE is a very modular project, and you can install the KDE desktop environment, but not install any of the KDE default apps. Or you can install some of the KDE default apps, but then use a different display manager, or you can install the KDE display manager, SDDM, and then you can not even use Plasma. Like, KDE is super modular, but GNOME, the GNOME philosophy is if you're using GNOME, you're using GNOME all the way. So if you're going to use GNOME, you're going to use our display manager, you're going to use our text editor, you're going to use our web browser. Like, that's how GNOME works. And that's why I don't, Canonical really is not going to have nearly as much control over Ubuntu now that they're using GNOME. Because GNOME is going to have that control now instead of Canonical. Of, like, here's what programs people are going to use, here's what people's desktops are going to look like. But yeah, so they're switching to GDM, and if you had been following the store with me and Mark, like, did I talk to you? Man, I haven't... See, I didn't talk to you for 6 months, and then you don't keep up with this kind of stuff, but I was, like, super... Like, I was blown away when this happened. This is related to that.
I can't see how that's a big deal, even if I haven't kept up.
Wait, you can see how it's a big deal? Or you
Yeah,
can't?
yes, I
Okay.
understand how it's a big deal,
Alright, yeah.
even if I haven't, like...
So, yeah. So there's that. What's another story you got, Adam?
So I got... Canonical has released
Hey,
a new stable
we were
version.
just talking about Canonical. All right,
Yes.
go ahead. I had to pause while I switched the screens, but I didn't interrupt you that time and say it, so it was.
Right. Well, it released a stable version of its Snapcraft utility for creating snap packages.
Nice.
This basically has support for resuming the download of Core Snap when building classic Snap.
All right. Do you know what snaps are, Adam?
Yeah, kind of.
He's got Core Snap highlighted there. So you know that Ubuntu snaps are the packages that you can install that don't have any dependencies. It's like an all-in-one program.
Okay.
So yeah, keep going.
Yeah. So when packages can't be fetched, you can use the Core Snap instead of the classic or whatever.
I don't know if that's what they're saying.
What?
Resuming the download. Resuming the download is the new feature. So that if the download stops halfway through and you get an error, you can resume the download halfway through instead of having to start it all the way over.
Yeah, okay. That's good.
So yeah.
That is not a good thing. Most time fails. Okay. Basically, it supports for cross-compiling. Well, not really, but it's coming soon. It allows you DC go. Yeah.
Alright. Keep
Basically,
going.
it's support for the cross-compiling Go parts.
Well, this implementation allows you to use CGO. It doesn't look like it supports cross-compiling with the stage packages argument, but it's coming soon too. Alright. This is what happens when non-developers talk about development. And this is also what happens. Adam, I mean, you powered through that better than Mark would have. Alright. Wait, keep going. There's more. But wait, there's more.
So there's more. The way Snapcraft communicates with the Snappy Store was changed. So it updates the QMake plugin, so it no longer requires users to specify the Qt version being used.
Oh, well, because it defaults to Qt5, which makes sense because Qt5 is the latest version of Qt.
Right. So what did it default to before then? Just no default? And then make you just do it every time?
Yeah, it probably just didn't work if you didn't specify. Because you were either using Qt4 or Qt5. Yeah. But like, you don't have to say GTK3. If there's a GTK app, it's GTK3. If it's GTK2, I'm going to say the 2. So.
Right. Okay. And it improves the build packages asset tracking, along with some bugs. Adds support for the row install files. Plugin.
ROS install. ROS install. Adam, that's the robotics thing that I was talking about 6 months ago. Because ROS is what we used at S&T Robotics. That's a really popular robotics meta operating system. So you can build the entire ROS project from a single file. That would have been helpful. So yeah.
And it changes the way the application communicates with the Snappy Store. Let's see. By modifying... Oh, it doesn't really say much about it.
Xubuntu release header to Xubuntu series. So they changed some of the metadata. They changed how you report the metadata. So it sounds like the version of Ubuntu, maybe before you had to specify like the name and now you can use the number or something. I don't know what the difference between release and series technically is. But yeah. If you're a Snappy developer and you want to come onto our show and talk to us about this, because I know, like, we don't know hardly anything about this. If you know about this and you want to come onto the show and kind of set the record straight here, then contact us. We'd be happy to have you on. Anything else you wanted to talk about there?
I don't know what's going on.
You don't know what's going on. So Snapcraft is the tool that you use to build snaps. The Snappy Store is the tool you use to download snaps.
Which I have not used the Snappy Store.
Alright. So our next story, back over to my screen, Firefox 54 is here, and it's, quote-unquote, way faster than before. Now, I use Firefox as my day-to-day browser because I like my privacy. That's, Adam probably, why do you use Firefox as your day-to-day browser?
It's my default. I like it.
Alright, fair enough. So yeah, Firefox 54. Now, I've been following the Firefox updates, and there's some like big updates that are supposedly happening, but here's the thing, that I already had some of these features. I don't See, Mozilla began multi-process support rollout in Firefox 48, released last August. So this is not really a new feature. Firefox 54 just has multi-process support enabled by default. But like, I already went and manually turned this on 8 months ago, and it didn't really help at all. It did not make a noticeable improvement. There's something called electrolysis. And electrolysis is something that makes Firefox use several processes. So instead of your entire web browser running in one process, it puts each tab into its own process like Chrome does, so that if one tab crashes, the entire browser doesn't crash. Now, guess what, Adam?
Right.
I still have
What?
the entire browser crash.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah. Well, you probably don't have it turned on by default. Unless you went into About Firefox and turned on whatever the thing was. But, in Chrome, like, it says, "Oh, snap." And then I just reload that tab, Like when the tab crashes.
That is a lot better.
We've seen plenty of that
Kind of
in
sucks
the
when
show.
the whole everything closes.
Yeah, well, even sometimes Firefox doesn't usually close, but what will happen is every tab will say it crashed at the same time. And at that point, it's pretty obvious, my browser has crashed. Every single website that I'm on did not just encounter a separate error at the exact same moment. Like, one of those tabs was doing something stupid, and then it crashed the entire browser, and now I have to go and reload all of my tabs. If I had a video paused in some other tab, then it's gonna be in a different spot now. Random dude says Phonon is coming. Is that Phonon or Photon? Because Phonon is a audio backend. It might be also the name of this new Firefox thing. But yeah, I'm waiting for Firefox to get better, and I want to, once again, I want to say I use Firefox as my default browser, so this isn't me going out of my way to knock on Firefox, but yeah, electrolysis, it is not revolutionary. It is, it's way better than not having multi-process support, and it might have actually made it faster, because I don't see Firefox loading circles hardly at all anymore, and I used to see those quite a lot, so... Now, if you're on Ubuntu, such as Adam is right now, you're on an Ubuntu version, right?
I am on an Ubuntu version.
Yeah, if you're on an Ubuntu version, there's a plugin that comes with Ubuntu that disables multi-process support. And it's called Mozilla Firefox for Ubuntu. That's the name of the plugin, or the Ubuntu modification add-on. You have to disable that add-on if you want multi-processes to turn on. So just disable that plugin, and you can tell if it's turned on. See, now I don't have Firefox open right now. I'm going to switch to Adam's desktop. Adam, go ahead and get into Firefox. Open up a new tab.
Okay.
And type in about :config.
This might void my warranty.
There's no warranty.
Okay.
Alright, now search for... What's the thing that you have to turn on? Hang on. Alright, do what Random Dude says in the chat room. Go up into your thing, type about :support. This isn't exactly what I was looking for, but it's similar. So you're on 47? Adam, you're using a Firefox build from 2016.
What's it? Oh.
Gosh, that is...
I guess I'm updated.
Talk about not updating. Scroll down. Alright, so multi-process Windows, 0 out of 3 disabled. So you do not have multi-process.
I do not, I guess.
But if you update your Firefox and then disable the Ubuntu plugin, or add-on, then you'll have multi-process. And then when you go there, it should say, 3 out of 3 instead of 0 out of 3. Can you hear that?
Yes, I hear that. It's the most annoying sound in my head I've ever heard.
Alright. So yeah, Firefox multi-process. Once again, I'm glad they added it. Good job, Mozilla. Looking forward to Phonon. Ubuntu reveals results of GNOME desktop survey is our last story for this week, right? Isn't it our last story?
Yeah.
I hope it is. All right. So the Ubuntu team put out a recent. So since they're switching to GNOME, Ubuntu put out a survey asking people what they like about GNOME, what plugins they like to use with GNOME, and they might ship some of these plugins by default. So one thing that came out of the survey, Dash to Dock, is super popular. Now, when's the last time you used GNOME? GNOME 3.
GNOME 3?
Yeah.
Never.
Never, okay. So GNOME 3, by default, it's got a little dock on the side of the screen, but it's only there when you open up your full screen menu. So then Dash to Dock brings it out so that it's there even when you're not in your menu, similar to the macOS dock. I used Dash to Dock back when I used GNOME 3, and over 80% of all respondents rated Dash to Dock as useful, semi-useful, or neutral.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Now, here's the thing. Ubuntu says Dash to Dock's popularity doesn't necessarily mean we should ship Dash to Dock as an extension by default, but rather it shows us our users would like the dock to be visible at all times or shown/hidden automatically as opposed to only shown in the activities view. So basically what they're saying there is, yes, random, yeah, it is photon, not phonon on that earlier word. Thank you. I caught it right away. So what they're saying here is that, so the way that you get the dock to show is by installing Dash to Dock. So, but now they're saying, well, we're not going to install Dash to Dock, but we might just make the dock show. So you might ask Adam, how are they going to do that without installing Dash to Dock?
How are they going to do that?
Well, they're probably going to ask the GNOME developers to add an option in to actually show the dock when the activities menu is not open. So they're going to take the functionality from this plugin and implement it into GNOME itself, is what they might try and do. Now here's where this thing comes in, where the GNOME developers have their heads up their... The GNOME developers are not team players a lot. And so when you ask the GNOME developers, can you implement this feature, they're probably going to say no. And they're probably going to say use the plugin. So they're probably going to end up shipping the plugin. Here's some other results from the survey. Nearly 90% of respondents rated Top Icons Plus as being useful. And in GNOME 3, by default, your icons are in the bottom left corner in your full screen menu. Top Icons Plus puts them at the top right of your screen next to your other icons that are already up there, and you've got a bar up there taking up space. So I used Top Icons Plus back when I was on GNOME, another one that I used. So yeah, they're probably going to implement that into GNOME, or they're going to make that the default behavior if they can. The most divisive results on the survey, which is almost more interesting, because like everyone knows about Dash to Dock, everyone knows about Top Icons Plus. You go to like GNOME forums, that's the first thing you're going to see. The most divisive results from the survey were no top left hot corner and applications menu. And some people really hate how in GNOME, the way that you open the menu, you can either click applications in the top left, or you can just bring your mouse all the way up to the top left and it automatically opens the menu. I love that. I love that. And here's, people rag on GNOME because it's like they're designing for tablets with all these big buttons and huge icons and everything. So it's like they're designing for touchscreens, but then you've got now this feature where you open the menu up by bringing your mouse to the top left. You don't have to click, it's just a move of your hand. That was like the most efficient. That's one of my favorite things about GNOME 3. Like, when I was around when GNOME 3 started. I was already using Linux by that point. So, like, when I first started using GNOME 3, like, that was one of the most innovative things about it to me, was this hot corner that opens up your menu. Like, that wasn't, like, a popular thing before GNOME 3. But some people don't like it. So some people would want to click instead of having it just open up by going to the top left corner. I still use my top left corner as a hot corner. Look at this. Look at this.
Okay.
Oh, crap. All right. KDE is... Hang on. All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, so here's what's going on. KDE has a bug right now, and I have proof. 20879. KDE's got a bug going on right now where on my computer, I wonder what that looks like on the stream. You should check out the stream to make sure we're still going. But yeah, KDE has a bug where when you use hot corners, sometimes it crashes your desktop. So
yeah, so it's not exactly a useful.
now GNOME does not have that bug. GNOME works flawlessly with its hot corners. But see, I can open up my hot corner here, and I've got this. Wow, that really doesn't come through very well at all.
Okay, so I'm just gonna point out that on the stream right now, you're just vibrating in place.
Awesome.
Slightly.
And on my screen right now, you're just frozen black and white. All right. Here's my proof of the KDE bug, is that I reported the darn bug Here, let me, KDE. Somebody responded to it today from KDE, but they basically were just saying, we don't know what's causing that. See if I can search for my bug here. Here, look at this. kwin_x11 freezes with 100% CPU when using desktop grid with present Windows. Reported on 2017, June 5th by Jacob Kaufman. And you can see one person, Kelvy Wong, responded saying he reproduced the issue. So I'm not the only one having this issue because somebody else reproduced it. And he attached debug, backtraces are what they're called. He attached backtraces to actually show developers where in the code the problem lies. That's super helpful. And then Martin Floser, one of the people at KDE, responded, and he said, unfortunately, we can't tell anything from that debug output. It could indicate that we failed to calculate a layout. But yeah, I mean, this is the bug. This is open source at work. I've reported the bug, and now I got help from somebody else in reporting the bug, and now I'm hoping that the developers figure out what the problem is and fix it. But yeah, some people don't like top left hot corner apparently, but some people do. So yeah, not clear what's going to happen there. And then applications menu is one that replaces the full screen menu with a click menu. Can you hear me? You keep freezing. Alright. So that's all the news for this week. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll go to our feature segment. Alright everyone, we're here in our 5th episode of Rolling Release, and this week we've got Adam, a special guest. Not really a super special guest, because he's been in Nerd Street stuff, but Adam uses Linux, and we're going to talk about how he uses Linux. But first, I do want to give a shout out to the Nerd on the Street Nerd Club. Hey Adam, have you heard about the Nerd Club?
I have heard about the Nerd Club.
The Nerd on the Street Nerd Club is it's a way that you can give back to Nerd on the Street. Because Nerd on the Street, you know, we are making videos here, and it takes time and money to do, and we could really use some of your support to keep making these videos. Maybe get a location that doesn't have construction going on. So head on over to nerdclub.nods.co, and you'll get this page. There's a couple different ways you can join. The first is the Patreon page. What do you think of Patreon, Adam?
Patreon's a useful site.
It's pretty useful.
Give your money.
Yeah.
Easy to get to.
They have their new rebrand, so like Patreon, the website looks all different now. I also updated our header image on Patreon. Check that out. And yeah, right now we got $17 a month on Patreon. We could really use a little more. I'd like to get that up to like $20 or $25 by the end of the summer. So yeah, help us reach that. Go to nerdclub.nods.co and yeah, support us. Once we get to $100 a month, Adam, I don't know if, since I haven't talked to you, this is coming down the pipeline. We're preparing to get ad-free video viewing on nerdonthestreet.com.
Ad-free?
Ad-free. Wouldn't that be great? Because
That would be great.
I don't like watching ads. I see you've got ad block or whatever. Hopefully you have that disabled. No, you don't. It's on and you're on the street. But I really appreciate when people view ads, but I'd like to not have to put people through that. So once we get to $100 per month on our Patreon page, everyone will be able to watch videos ad-free at nerdonthestreet.com with a beautiful video player that is going to load faster than Dailymotion, possibly even YouTube, I don't know. So I'm really excited about that. It's going to be a great video player, so going to be the best video player. You're going to want to see it. Nerdclub.nods.co. You can also join prepaid. You can join $18 for 6 months or $36 for 12 months. So it's just math. You just multiply $3 times however many months you're doing. But yeah, if you don't want to enter into a long-term commitment, you know, sometimes people don't want to keep themselves locked in, even though, you know, you can cancel it in time on Patreon. If you don't want to worry about forgetting it, you can pay up front. So yeah, what's your favorite? What do you think that the most valuable thing at the Nerd Club is right now, Adam? He's reading the list right now.
Well, no, I'm not even on the list.
I personally think that the most valuable thing at the Nerd Club is the live stream DVR. Because we put out edited versions of videos like Rolling Release. I'm going to edit the crap out of this, and I'm going to upload it. But then sometimes you want to see what's between the segments. You know, you want to see our banter. You want to see the stuff that gets cut out because we don't know what we're talking about. So sometimes you just want to see the entire raw, uncut stream, and for that, we got the live stream DVR. You head on over to nerdclub.nods.co, join the Nerd Club, and after you do that, you'll have full access to recordings of every single live stream that we do. Full recording, uncut. It's great. It's awesome. So yeah, we got that. You got the banner ads go away on our website. We still got video ads for now, but you won't have banner ads as of today. We already had the feature before today, but yeah, nerdclub.nonce.co, join that. No more banner ads. You might get occasional merch, although we're not sending this t-shirt out to people. Oh, we should plug the t-shirt as well. So yeah, nerdclub.nonce.co. Let's say that you don't actually care about Nerd on the Street that much, though, but you do care about Nerd on the Street enough to buy a t-shirt. We've got Nerd on the Street 5-year t-shirts available for sale right now. This is what they look like, and just got them in today. The Nerd on the Street logo looks a little bit more of a clear blue circle, like, you know, I thought it would be more of a fade out than that, but what do you think?
It looks good.
It says 5 years of Nerd on the Street, and we're still dreaming. And then the back says 5 years. It's got a list. Check that out. A list of every single tech video that we've made.
List.
It is a really long list, and you can pick out your favorite videos in there. We also have the displaced and rolling release logos. That's this show, by the way, rolling release. We have those at the bottom of this. And, yeah, then at the bottom it says I was there, because by purchasing this t-shirt, you know, Nerd on the Street's going to be famous coming up in however many years, you know? Like 2030, Nerd on the Street is going to be all over the place. So you're going to want to have your Nerd on the Street t-shirt, and you can say you were there at the beginning. This is the first time that we've had a t-shirt available for sale to the public. You know that, Adam?
Yeah, I do know that.
Last year we had our displaced t-shirts, but those were like an internal staff-only kind of thing. So, you know, we don't do merch very often, because if you're going to pay us, we'd rather it be a recurring thing in response to our videos, so that's what the Nerd Club is for. But then if you want something to remember us by, and you don't want to buy a displaced DVD, you know, Nerd on the Street t-shirts, that's at teespring.com/knots-5-years, I think. Yep, that is correct. Knots-5-years, and I think they're $18. We'll see once it loads up here. That is the cheapest that Teespring would let me make it. So, yep, $18, as you can see. Go and get one. All right, and I wasn't even on the screen for that part, but that's fine. So, Adam, you use Linux,
Hi.
don't you?
I do use
You're
Linux.
a Linux user. Are you a Linux fan?
You know, I enjoy Linux. Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to switch back to Windows at this point.
You would not want to
No.
switch back to Windows at this point?
No, I do like having
Yeah.
Linux.
It grows on you, doesn't it?
It kind of, yeah. It's kind of, okay. Oh, yeah.
I'm messing with the OBS layout and it's not working right now. Alright, so yeah, what distro are you using right now? I'm going to switch to your desktop. So just actually, no, I'll switch to your full-on camera right now. How did you get into Linux?
Well, you've always been into Linux. There's always been that aspect of it.
Yeah?
Like, the first thing of Linux I remember was playing, like, the GNOME, like, snake thing
Uh-huh.
app or whatever.
Yeah.
Or we did when we had it on the computer, it was cool. But then I was kind of forced into it in the end.
Oh, yeah, that was Nibbles, wasn't it?
Nibbles.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Nibbles was the game.
Yes. That was the worm game for GNOME. That's the game you're thinking
Yeah.
of.
Right. So, I don't know why we were playing that, but...
Because we were at your house and bored, probably.
No, this was at your house. This was before, like, I had on my computer.
Because we were at my house and bored, probably.
Yeah. Guaranteed.
So yeah, so your first interaction with Linux was playing GNOME games with me.
Yeah. And then I really hadn't had any until you made our one computer Linux.
Yeah, so Adam had a family computer with Windows XP. Did it get a virus or something? Or was it just slow?
I'm pretty sure it might have. I think it had a virus.
Yeah, so it was a Dell Dimension 3000.
And slow.
And
Wasn't
everyone in
great.
your house was kind of using that computer, even though I think Mark had his own laptop at the time. Like, that was kind of a family computer.
Yeah.
I put
Back when we had those.
Lubuntu on it. So that's Ubuntu with LXDE. And how was that?
That was pretty good.
I remember...
I don't think I did that much on that computer.
Alright. Like, I
I don't think
know...
I was...
remember that, like, that period of time where your computer at your house would have that pink snowflake screensaver that was, like, one of the only LXD screensavers.
Yeah.
Or, like, it was, like, a light blue, like, they were all really bright
Right.
colors.
I mean, I don't have a screensaver now on
Yeah.
any computer, but
And then, after you guys got rid of that computer, and then what?
yeah, because we all got our own computers anyways. There's no point to having it.
Yeah.
And just some slow thing. I think did you end up getting that computer?
Yes, I've got it. It's actually right
Yeah.
here. I've got it right there, down there. I think I'm using it as part of my nightstand right now. Because those things,
Wow.
they go for $10 on eBay. Like, I actually tried to sell them, they go for $10. So,
Yeah, it's not really get you
Yeah.
anything.
like, I can melt down the metal and sell it for more than $10. So, but yeah, the next time, right now you're using. How did you end up using Linux on your main computer? That's what I'm getting at.
Like I said, I was kind of forced into using that. It was not originally
forced. So I helped you build your computer, right?
Right.
We've got a
So we
video
did-
on our website of building that computer. It's a 2-part video. Got building Adam's
Yeah.
computer, part 1 and part 2. Now, do you remember when we first built that computer? You did not order Windows.
No. Well, okay, I didn't think about that. I just always had Windows.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
So you didn't even think to order Windows, and I was the nice Jacob, and I provided you with my copy of Windows to use. I gave you my license key.
Right.
It wasn't until that broke that I installed Linux on your computer, right?
Yes. Because it kept getting messed up. So yeah, and it wasn't even because it broke. Like we could have installed it. But at that point, it was because the CD drive was not connected to the motherboard, and we did not have the cord to plug it in, nor the energy to. So, because there was a port.
Random dude, can you tell what we're saying? Can you hear us?
This ain't pretty loud.
Yeah, it is. I can 100% guarantee. I can 100% guarantee that if we had an office, this background noise would not be here. 100% guarantee.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But no, we only need $17 per month, is what our audience thinks, apparently. All right.
That's not quite enough to make an office.
Not quite enough. All right. So, did I install that Linux distro with you, or did you install that by yourself? I might have just given you the thumb
No.
drive.
Actually, you know what? There's a different time that I was gonna put Linux on my main computer. I remember I really wanted, even before you installed that, I was like, it would be cool to have like Linux Mint or something. This is all I knew at the time.
Yeah,
was
Linux
Mint.
Mint,
So I
Mint was
did,
good.
at one point was like gonna try and install that, but in the end I'm like, this is a bad idea. I'm gonna break everything and I'm just gonna need to get Jacob anyways. So no, I'm just not gonna do it.
Yeah.
And so that was put on hold. Then yeah, because I brought my computer over to you to fix. It was right before something important, like
Extra
it
Life
was a
20.
big, yeah, it was
2015.
like a day before Extra Life. That
Literally.
this all happened at.
Yeah. Well, it was like
Yeah.
3 days before Extra Life.
So no, I was there when you installed it. 'Cause
Alright.
It took a while
Yeah.
to do. I think we even played like Total Minor while we were waiting, just
Did
because
we?
it was like.
No, well,
I feel like
we
I feel
were
like you might have kind of
by
looked at it.
by the time that we were installing Linux on your computer and doing Extra Life, we didn't have our Xbox in the basement anymore.
Oh, you didn't?
And also,
Okay,
that was
okay.
way after Minecraft for Xbox came out. So unless we were specifically doing a retro thing, we would have been playing
It's because
Minecraft.
it's because I was at your house. I couldn't play Minecraft. I was at your house.
No, Minecraft for Xbox.
Yeah, maybe.
Because we stopped playing Total Miner when Minecraft came out.
we're doing something. But yeah,
I don't know what we would have been.
so that took a little bit for it to do the install. I
Yeah.
was waiting for it to finish just in case.
Um,
So yeah.
but yeah, I installed Ubuntu Mate 15.04, you said?
Yeah.
So here, I'm going to switch to your desktop now. Go ahead and open up the About Ubuntu thing, like under System, and then
About
About...
Oh, I don't have that.
We'll close
What is
that.
this?
Close that out. Go to System again. Oh, maybe that is it. Go to Welcome. So we'll see what version you got here.
See,
Yes.
now I have the 15.10.
15.10, yeah. So yeah, how do you like Ubuntu Mate?
I do like it a lot actually. Like, well,
You can
yeah.
you've customized it quite a bit. If people on the screen, there's nothing cut off right now. Adam actually customized his panel layout. You want to tell us about that?
My panel? Oh. Like this top thing?
Yeah. I mean, you got rid of the bottom one.
Okay, I did not like the bottom one. The top, as I think, I don't know, because for a while I had the top and the bottom. Eventually I said that looks stupid. Just kept the top.
And how do you switch
But-
between windows now?
It's actually just this bar right here. I like. I end up
Alright,
using.
so
I
you
don't know
click on
how I
that.
ended up with this at
I
first.
I
And it
didn't
just
even
dropped
know
off.
this was a thing. I
Which
remember
I
one
like
time seeing it. I'm
because
like,
yeah, I don't
yeah,
like when the bottom gets all cluttered and it gets really long. Although now I have nothing in this space
right.
anyways. Kind of ugly at this point.
But yeah, so that
But
you
yeah.
just found that when you were looking through the possible like things that you can add, the widgets for the bar, right?
Yeah, it's just in the
And
widget. There's
and
like
just like
30
you got
things.
that network
Okay,
thing there.
that's actually there because sometimes my internet will completely like shut off and stop working.
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah, that might just be a problem with my powered Ethernet thing. But
maybe. But then again, we've been dropping our stream every now and then. Um, but yeah, now
true.
random dude in the chat room is telling me it's pronounced Mate. Random dude, when they add an accent over the E, then I'll pronounce it Mate. Until then, I'm calling it mate. So Adam, what do you think about Linux coming from? You had Windows. What was like the biggest adjustments that you had to make coming from Windows when you first installed Linux?
Okay. Okay. Well, the biggest thing was actually. It's not about like using it. I was a big jump using it, but I guess using like different apps or whatever, games or whatever, because I can't do most of those going to Linux.
Yeah,
So
I
I'd be
mean,
getting used to like LibreOffice and not having
do you
all
remember?
some
I
other
don't know if
stuff.
you remember any numbers on how many games you have and how many work on Linux.
It's a pretty big drop. I mean, there's a lot that I have on
Because,
Linux right now.
well, all right. So
It's about
Mark has 600 games in his Steam library. 200 of them work on Linux. So is it
Yeah.
like, is yours comparable? Would you say about a third of the games work on Linux? About half? How many
of the games I own.
of the games you own?
Probably about half.
Okay. So were there any big ones that you like were disappointed that you had to stop playing?
See, a lot of the games, there are the games I did like playing. I do own an Xbox 2, which is kind of weird. Maybe
yeah.
like at the time I was into League. That's not on Steam
Okay.
though. And Fallout 4 I just bought.
Mm.
Other than that, like there are games that I kind of would like to play, but at the same time it's like, well, I probably wasn't gonna play it anyways. Like I'm not like too disappointed. I
Yeah.
do own. So even that's not
So,
a
yeah.
big deal.
Any other big adjustments
Oh,
other
this
than your application preferences, or any non-game things that aren't available on Linux that you used to use
Well,
on Linux?
okay. What? You cut out again.
Oh, any non-game things that are not available on Linux that you used to use on Windows, or any other adjustments?
Not really. This sounds like Microsoft Word, but
It sounded like you were about to go into something else.
oh yeah. I mean, other than like downloading apps can be difficult. Not apps, just downloading.
Right. Well, you
stuff
figured
can
out
be
how PPAs
harder.
worked pretty quickly, I think, right?
Yeah, no, that I get now.
Yeah.
Except for what the stuff we're using now. I did try and download the app for it, but don't know. Like some stuff I download and don't know how to launch. Still, it's even better. Like if you can't launch it through like the menu, like I would. Yeah.
Now, when's the last time that you updated your system? Because you're on 15.10. But do you keep your apps up to date? No, you don't, because your Firefox is from 2016. Open up a terminal right now,
Right.
because this is one of the big advantages to PPAs, Adam. Like, we don't have PPAs just for fun. We have them because you can do things like this. Type in sudo apt-get update.
Oh, I do hit that. I've done that,
Alright, so do that.
but I do that like random. Like I just did this today. Even.
Well, but then did you do sudo apt-get upgrade?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Update does not do anything. Update checks for updates. Upgrade actually installs them.
Well, no, it's been months since I did upgrade. Well,
Yeah, no, because all that this does is it refreshes your package lists. But yeah, it doesn't actually install any updates until you run upgrade.
yeah, so still a lot that I have to figure out with this.
I'm just looking at all the stuff that you got. You got a couple of PPAs not found there.
Okay,
It's
here we
probably
go.
fine.
What the?
You gotta
oh.
wait. It's still working.
Yeah, I just don't know how to read.
I see you've got some Steam shortcuts on your desktop.
Yeah, that's for the extra live stream. I was getting
Ah.
prepared.
Cool. You're still
Nice,
prepared
man.
for next year. Oh, and there's your
Well,
there's
how
your
many
VPN
games
thing
that?
at the top right.
Oh yeah, that's still up there too.
Yeah. And there's your Jitsi thing that you just installed today.
Wait, where?
See, it's in the terminal because you added that PPA, so now it checks that.
Yeah, but I still know how to launch it from here.
So
But,
yeah,
Okay. I mean, let me do that.
Do you use Opera? You didn't have to do that during the stream, Adam. Because now it's going to
What?
download several hundred megabytes while you're video calling me.
Oh no, how do I stop it?
Control C. But yeah,
Okay.
do you use Opera? Because I saw that you've got the Opera. You've got Vivaldi. You've got Chrome. You've got so many. But you use Firefox.
Okay. So I use Firefox a lot of the time. I still use Chrome for some stuff like Netflix and whatnot. Like not use Firefox for.
Yeah.
I do like Firefox better. That's why it's still my default browser at this point. Like I never changed it to Chrome, even though I use it. But Opera I use because that's what I use on my Mac, and I used to use on this computer before.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really work out too well on Linux. It's not quite.
So yeah, any
Yeah.
wait, Opera doesn't work too well on Linux?
I don't know. I think it was mainly that I could stop using Opera.
There was a time,
switch to Chrome.
yeah, about when you started using Linux, there was a problem with media on Opera, like videos and stuff. Is that
I think it was that. No,
Yeah.
there's a point where like videos were something. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it was something. Like
I remember
YouTube
that.
and stuff
That was a
like
big problem for like 6 months.
Yeah, now
Um,
that you say that, that's definitely a big issue.
Any other general thoughts on your use of Linux?
Seems to be a little quicker. I don't know. That's I don't know. Just because of how much stuff I had
Yeah.
on Windows, or I don't know how it works, but I
Now,
can seem to do.
you do have a MacBook Air that you use macOS on.
Yeah.
Do you ever find yourself going either from your desktop to your laptop or from your laptop to your desktop because of the operating system? Like to do certain tasks?
Not really. No, that doesn't.
You've never been like on your Linux desktop and you're like, oh, I want to do this, so I'm gonna turn this off and use my laptop instead?
Actually, well, okay. Except for like Word or something. That's about it.
Microsoft Word or
Like I
something
need
like
to
that?
use Word for something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's pretty.
Yeah. I know you've
I'm
done
good at
some
what's on
you've
my-
done some streaming from your current install. You've got OBS installed, right?
Yes, I do have that installed.
How did you think
yeah.
that the streaming went? How easy is it to stream? Or how difficult?
I mean, it's pretty easy. Like streaming isn't really too different between the two.
Did you notice any video game performance differences between Windows and Linux when you did make the switch?
Actually, it seems like some of them ran better on Linux. The ones that keep support for Linux at least.
What are the ones that don't?
I don't know. I feel like there's some that don't like keep updates for Linux.
Yeah. I mean, Gary's mod
But
was
like
there
all the
for a while.
Valve games, yeah, like Gary's mod keeps up to date like with Linux as well,
It does now.
or at least, yeah. And like any Valve game runs
Yeah.
pretty good on Linux, at least. Actually, most games do run on Linux. I find.
But yeah.
Because I kind of figured they would run a lot worse, but they don't really.
Okay. So yeah, you're not in a rush to install Windows anytime soon?
No, I am pretty good with Linux.
Would you have installed Linux yourself if I had not put that on there for you? Would you have like made
Maybe
the
a-
switch if Windows had not broken?
I probably would. I don't know about right then. But it's kind of something I had looked at before from another time, so I probably would have.
Where had you heard about
Oh,
it anywhere
yeah.
other than me, or was it just like from Nerd on the
I
Street?
had. Like you definitely sparked it, but
Now here's a question.
nothing substantial.
I remember from the Friday Night Hangout there was a clip where you were talking about how people in TeamSpeak rooms, you would join TeamSpeak and say, "Hey, what's up, guys? I'm on Linux," and then people would make fun of you for it.
Yeah, people still do that.
Do people still do that?
Cause like, I mean, yeah, cause like, okay, on like a gaming community or whatever, with like a bunch of people like that, like obviously people still consider Windows to be like, the gaming thing.
Even though you're playing games that run on Linux.
Yeah, but still, like even like Mac, like same with Mac, like it's Mac and Linux.
Okay.
Like you got the people who haven't heard of Linux, so the people make fun of you for it.
Okay. Yeah.
It seems like.
But
Like, most people
the-
do not.
Most of the
have
people
those.
who shun Linux for gaming would also shun Mac for gaming.
Yeah,
All right.
because it both does not as great for games. At least not about in quality, but in
Yeah.
quantity.
What do you think about? Is there any difference at all between Linux and Mac OS for you? Like, other than the Microsoft Word thing, what
What?
do you prefer? I've been asking about Linux versus Windows. What do you think about Linux versus Mac? Since those are two things you actually use side by side.
I don't. I never got into like Mac. Like I do like it, but in general, I'd rather use Linux for stuff than Mac
Really?
for a lot of the stuff. Yeah,
Why is that?
I don't know. It's just
Would you consider putting Linux on your MacBook instead of using Mac OS what you're saying is true?
yeah,
Would the
but
Microsoft
I
Word thing
do
stop you from doing that?
kind of like there are things that I like. I like having like something that's not Linux because in terms of like support or whatever, I think Mac is higher than Linux. So
Yeah.
especially for school and stuff,
Hmm.
I kind of want to keep that. Would like to keep that on just for
To have a
different
more
apps.
mainstream thing when you need it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which does it.
Alright, yeah.
Because I mean, while you're still in school, they do have you install software from time to time, whatever software.
Alright, yeah, I don't know. I don't have any. I did not plan for this interview at all, so that's about all that I can BS, unless you have any other general thoughts or comments. Have you ever considered using a different desktop environment that wasn't Mate, or are you just happy with Mate? It works, you don't want to
Uh,
touch it?
I have,
You.
but I'm still just uncomfortable enough where I wouldn't want to attempt it
Okay.
myself.
Yeah.
But I don't know. 'Cause I've heard of other stuff, and I'm like, oh, this one's more complicated. And
Which one's
so,
more complicated?
yeah, that's a good question. I threw it out of mind because
Uh,
I can't take much more complication.
yeah.
But,
I mean, Mate's a good balance.
right.
And it Mate is relatively lightweight. What graphics card do you have in that computer? It's not a bad card. It's
It's
like
the 970.
okay.
GeForce
Yeah, so
970.
that's a decent card. Are you using
Yeah.
the proprietary NVIDIA driver, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah, Adam is an example of somebody who uses Linux day to day. Even though, would you describe yourself as a tech person?
No.
Would you say that you have more interesting computers than the average person at all?
Than the average person?
Yeah.
Yeah, at this point.
Is
yeah.
that how about more than the average gamer? Would you consider yourself more proficient than the average gamer in computers, or do you think most of your above averageness
More
comes
prof-
from being a gamer?
more proficient or more interest?
Either, both.
More interest, probably, because there's different aspects, yeah. In proficiency, I don't know about that. But I thought
Well, you
I'm
are
getting there in
using
proficiency
Linux.
as well.
I was surprised how easily you picked things up. Because when I had Michael's computer running Linux, and when I had my parents' computer running Linux, like, they would run into things, and they wouldn't know how to, open up a new window of Chrome or whatever. Michael wouldn't know how to update his computer. You figured out PPAs without asking me any questions. You figured out how to customize the Mate desktop environment all on your own. So, but you, according to you, those things aren't actually that difficult.
Oh, damn. I mean, it took a little bit to figure out, but it wasn't like, no, not crazy difficult.
Yeah.
I guess it just depends, like, I don't know, what you're interested in. I am just trying to figure all that out
Hmm.
and experimenting with what you could do since I just had it and didn't know anything about it. Part of
Yeah.
it was kind of about experimenting and not just keeping it just like basic, which would have been easy to do because I think when we had an old computer, we just kept it like completely basic.
Well,
like,
yeah, that was
nothing to
Lubuntu,
do.
and there wasn't a whole lot. Like,
Yeah.
that wasn't quite
Well,
as customizable
yeah,
as
but
Mate.
I'm saying we wouldn't have tried to.
Right.
You know, it's just simply get on the internet, whatever. Don't install anything.
Yeah.
Just
I mean, we installed
whatever it is.
GBrainy, or was that pre-installed? Might have been pre-installed.
I don't know. Actually, I feel like that's pre-installed, or it's in like the store or whatever,
Yeah.
pretty easily.
Do you ever use a software
Yeah.
center, like the store? Or is there even one of those on Ubuntu Mate?
Software Center?
Yeah, is there a software center?
I, there is a software center, and I have used it.
Okay.
I don't know. It's one of those things that I use it just a little enough. Well, every time I need to use it, I forget it's there. And it's really bad. Like
Yeah.
I don't even know. I feel like it's always hard for me to find. Like it's not out there, just like right
Is it more
looking for me.
is it more common for you to install software using a deb file or by typing in the PPA to the terminal?
Probably the PPA.
So you don't like download. I mean, when you went to install Chrome, so you like followed a tutorial for adding the PPA and installing it. You didn't like download
Yeah.
Google Chrome.deb.
Usually that's what I would do. I had downloaded a couple .devs, but those are
Okay.
some of those are like hit or miss for me.
Yeah.
Like some of those, I just like I don't know.
Are you excited
So, yeah,
at all about? So are you aware of what Snappy is at all? Ubuntu Snaps? Because what those are going to do right now, every time you install software, you have to add the PPA, right? What Snaps
Right.
will allow you to do is download a Snap file and install it like an exe on Windows, where you don't have to add
Okay,
the
yeah,
PPA,
yeah.
you don't have to update it with the rest of the system. It doesn't get updates with the rest of the system, but it's just its own thing. Every application is separated out.
Oh, then yeah, definitely.
Do you?
This one we could have.
So you don't? Do you not like the fact that you can update your whole system at once with PPAs? Do you?
No, okay.
Because, like, personally, this is a problem I have with Snaps. Like, everyone's getting all excited about Snaps because, oh, it's just like Windows. You can double-click and install. But I personally think that the advantage of updating everything at once outweighs the convenience of installing a
I don't
Snap.
know. I guess that's true.
But since you're an average user, I didn't know what you thought about that. Because you clearly don't update so much, so you probably don't, I guess, care that much about updatability.
Right. Or when I do update, it's like little enough. I don't need to worry about upgrading the whole system.
Yeah, and I mean, to be
always.
fair, I think Snaps actually auto-update by default. So you'd probably have more of your
Right.
components up to date.
I'm just thinking like it'd be easier to like just install stuff because even I still have like some troubles installing certain things that I feel
Yeah.
like could be. So are they going to completely remove PPAs?
Eventually, that's
Or-
the goal, I think. They're not planning on it anytime soon, but they're developing Snaps as an alternative. And Fedora is developing Flatpak, and then AppImage is the third one. There's a couple of competing standards. We're not sure what's going to land yet, so...
At least for now, it is nice to have that alternative. If
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, yep. Once again, just a regular old Linux user. Thought it'd be cool to talk to you. Yeah, because we don't often get to talk to someone. I mean, Mark only uses Linux for this show, basically. You actually use Linux. Like, you're probably, aside from me, you're like the second most Linux inclined person at the company, wouldn't you say? Because like, Stephanie
definitely.
claims she's never seen Linux. Michael doesn't use Linux at all. So yeah, but you actually choose to use Linux. If you wanted to go out
I
and
do.
if you let's say that like tomorrow you wanted to install Windows, would you know how to do that yourself?
It's probably. I mean, it'd be pretty easy. Like, that's not a difficult thing to do, is it? Like, you just like put in the CD and it just goes.
Yeah.
For my, yeah. So, it's
So
not
like
hard
you're
to
not
do.
using Linux because I'm making you after all this time.
No, no.
It's been years. I would have thought you would take care of it by now if you didn't want to, but you are using Linux out of choice.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, that's about all we had planned for this episode, guys. Like I said, Mark was busy this week, and we were working on our episode. But then we had the 5-year anniversary stream last week. I got more videos I'm working on now. So yeah, we didn't have a whole lot of time to prepare a whole lot. Hopefully, this little shorter episode of Rolling Release was at least a little entertaining if you can hear it over the construction. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in this week. I want to thank iTunes and Google Play for not kicking us off if they don't after that horrible audio quality from earlier. Yeah, but for now, Linux will continue improving, just like this show. Thanks to Random Dude in the chat room for showing up. And, yeah, thanks to our guest, Adam. You can follow him on the Twitters over at... Where can they go for more of you?
At _Adam.
Correct, at NOTS_Adam. He tweets like every day, and they're really entertaining tweets, so you should go and follow him. But yeah, I'm Jacob Kaufman. You can find me over at nerdofthestreet.com. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.